Okay, so on the ones that I can, I'm going to set these up for you because I have the key posted, but you may want a little bit more explanation or a little few more examples on working out these problems. So finding the area, notice that here I have this side and I have this side and I have the included angle. So right away, this is strictly just area of a triangle is equal to 1/2 6.5 times 6.3 times sine of 28 degrees, and you plug this in a calculator, you get your answer, and you're done. And you have feet squared because it's an area. On this one, I don't have two sides and the included angle. So what I have to do is I have to find another side. Now, I have 7 and 108, which is across from each other. You see this angle, this side are across from each other. So I can use law of sines. Now I can't shortcut this one. So I'm going to say I want to find angle R, and then I can use this formula. Because technically what I have is the area of the triangle equals 1/2 7 times 6 times sine of, can't do it. I got to have R. So over here to the side, I am going to go ahead and find the angle R. So I'm going to say sine of 108 over 7 equals, you know what? I can't find R. Oh my goodness. 6 is across from S. So I'm going to color code this so you can see it. 6 and S are the two that are together right here. So I have to put sine of S over 6. All right, so if I want to get sine of S by itself, I multiply each side by 6. What's on the bottom? Okay, and this leaves me 6 sine 108 over 7 equals sine of S. All right, that means I'm going to be doing an inverse sine. Sine inverse of both sides of all of this, and it gets rid of my sine. So this is going to just leave me, when I do sine inverse of all of this, this is equal to angle S. And I should have put the measure of angle S, but let's pull up a calculator. And in the calculator, I'm going to put second, first of all, let's clear it. Second sine n over d. Okay, so I've got it set up where I can put all of this in there. 6 times sine, since it's times sine, I can just put sine 108 over 7, enter, 54.6. So that means this one right here is 54.06. Well, then all I have to do for this angle is subtract from 180. 180 minus 108 minus 54.06. So grab my calculator again because I'm tired and I don't trust myself with numbers this late. 180, 108 minus 54.06. And what happened with dot, dot, dot? What in the world? 50. Let's delete. Oh, I got real happy with that button. It didn't go quick enough for me. Delete. 54.06. Oh, I see what happened. 06. There we go. Enter. Okay, 17.94. So this angle is 17.94. So now that I have angle R, I'm going to put 17.94 here. And when I put all of this in a calculator, I'll have my answer. Equals however many feet squared. Okay? There you go. All right, I'm going to leave that for you to do. I'm not going to take the time on it. All right, because I'm trying to keep this short and sweet. Solve for an angle using the sine formula and then using Heron's formula. So that means I need to find one of these sides. If I go to my largest side, I would have S. If I went to the second largest side, I would have R. These are really close. And just because R doesn't look like a 5, I'm going to do R. So I'm going to use law of sines. So I'm going to say angle R is, oh, I can't use law of sines. Hello, I've got to use law of cosines. So that means I'm going to start with R. Let me show you what this is going to look like. This is an R, an S, and a lowercase t. So I'm going to say R squared equals S squared plus T squared minus 2ST cosine of R. Okay, so I'm going to fill it in. 9 squared equals 9.2 squared plus, where am I? T is 5. 5 squared minus 2. Now, this is easy for me. I just go back and look what I wrote up here. 2 times 9.2 times 5 times cosine of R. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract these two from this side. So I'm going to move them over here. So that means I have 9 squared minus 9.2 squared plus 5 squared. Okay, now they're gone. Only thing I have left is I have all of this times cosine of R. So what I'm going to do is divide both sides by negative 2 times 9.2 times 5 equals cosine of R. All right, so that means to finish this off, I need to take cosine inverse of all of this, cosine inverse of all of this. This side cancels, and this leaves me with the measure of angle R. All right, so let's put it in a calculator. I can't do it without it. So I want N over D. Let's see, second cosine, N over D button. What goes on top is 9 squared minus 9.2 squared plus 5 squared all over negative 2 times 9.2 times 5. There we go. Enter. 103.4. That cannot be right. 103.4. I disagree. That is not the biggest angle and it's obtuse. Do you see how I just caught that I had to make a mistake somewhere? Let me go back and see. I caught it. It's right here. There was a plus sign on that 5, way too big. So I've got to enter it again. Second cosine. I'm kind of glad that happened because you guys don't think about, ooh, does that answer make sense? And 103 did not make sense. So 9 squared minus 9.2 squared minus 5 squared. Now, that should work. Over negative 2 times 9.2 times 5. Enter. Aha, I'll buy that. 71, I need it back for a second. Come back. 71.9. 71.9 degrees. That's what this one is, 71.9. Okay, so now we got to use only the two sides touching this. Okay, so that gives me area of the triangle is equal to 1/2 of 5 times 9.2 times sine of 71.9 equals however many centimeters squared. Okay, I'm leaving that for you. Over here, it's a little bit easier, and I like these two side by side to compare. all you'll have to do is start with S first and make sure you take the sides, 9 plus 9.2 plus 5. Well, we were at 18, that's 23.2 over 2. If it were 24.2, if it were 23, it's going to be 12. 11.5, so it's 11.6. Okay, so now the area using Heron's formula, the square root of, and I hope I can fit it in here, 11.6 times 11.6 minus 5, that's the one on the bottom, times 11.6 minus the one on the side, times 11.6 minus, I'm out of room, 9.2. Close parentheses. Once you have your answer here, it should match. It better match whatever's over here. Now, we did this in class today, and we came up 1/100th of a square centimeter off. So if I'm asking you to take it to the nearest hundredth, then you better show me your work so I can have the two answers to confirm that. Okay, moving on. Find the area of the triangle. What do you need first? Okay, so I need to have two sides. So I have an angle here and I have an angle here, and I only have one side here. So I can go ahead and find this top one because I know that 180 minus 120 minus 32 is going to give me this other angle up here. So I'm at 152. I have 28 degrees left to give me this angle. So this is 28 degrees. All right, so that tells me that angle, but I need another side. So I can use law of cosines because I have these two as opposites. So I want to find a side, so I'm going to set this up. 5 over sine of 120 equals, let's call it D over sine of, I totally lost my train of thought, sine of 32. I'm listening to the debate right now in the background, and I'm hearing chit chats. Okay, so I'm going to multiply both sides by sine of 32 degrees, sine of 32. Now be careful because when you do this, that sine is up on the top. It's automatically over 1, and I'm assuming you all get that. So everything that's on top is going to be sine of 32. Now, this is times 5, and I really prefer to put that 5 up front and not in the back, over sine of 120. The reason why is very simple. When you go to put this in your calculator, I'm going to clear this out a second, and I put n over d. If I put sine 32, I'll do it in here this way first. Sine 32 times. If you'll look right here, there's a parenthesis up there, and if you just put sine of 32 times 5 all over sine of 120, I got to show you what your answer comes out to be. I want you to compare this. That was not supposed to happen. Sine of 120. Look what happens. We get this really weird decimally thing, like T90. Well, let me go back and do it because, I'll show you what happened. This had to have a closed parentheses after the 32. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to hit sine 32, close the print. I thought I hit 32. 32, close the parentheses, times 5. And I meant to have a fraction all over, will it let me do that? Well, all over sine of 120. This will work, believe it or not. Sine of 120, that was not what I intended to do. And I hit 110, lovely. Enter. Okay, 3.06. Notice it's not a tiny little decimal anymore. And this is miles squared. Okay, I just want to show you, it's very dangerous putting this on that end because kids forget to close that parenthesis. So be careful. Be careful. All right, so the last thing that's on here is just something to get you ready to remind you about how to find law of cosines. We have done this a couple of times, so I think I'm going to leave that open. If you were here on the day of law of cosines, you can watch my video. If you were not, hey, have a great one.